Alright, so this is a Platinum Rein who actually touched Diamond for the first time ever this season. And so let's see what we can't do to get him back to Diamond. Figure out why he's not in Diamond.
Be back around.
But Ana's low.
Cool, so it kind of feels like you're already seeing it. But it can be really difficult to play Ryan on this first point. Orisa has some nice synergies if you want to play kind of like a bunker comp. Winston Diva have some really nice synergies if you want to kind of jump around point and stuff like that. But do you see how your enemies are kind of just chilling all around you and you're just essentially running around in circles, and it feels really bad and you can't really catch up to them? That's what happens to Ryan Zarya on this map all the time, unfortunately. Because if you look at the point, so obviously eventually you have to contest the point. And so when you look at the point, it goes from roughly that area. So think about all the places your enemies can go and still hit you on point. It is pretty massive. So they can hit you all over here, no issues. Then they can hit you from the high ground. Really any of the high ground, depending on where you are on the point, and they can continue to hit you. They can come over here. They can come from the edge of the staircase. They can still hit you. They can hit you over here. They can actually go back in this room and hit you. They can have any of this high ground and hit you. And they can take any of this to hit you. Any of this at all the way down to keep going if it's like someone with range like a Widow. And I'm not even going to highlight the point because obviously they can hit you on the point as well. And so you're Reinhardt here. And so here you are, positioned here. And a dumb team will repetitively push up these stairs, over here, and right here. And you guys will just keep fighting them back. But right away, they've already revealed to us that they're not completely dumb, at least, because they went to point, and so now they forced you here. Because who else is really going to be able to drop to contest point? So now you're on point. And now you can get farmed from any of these directions. And the time that it takes you to get someone off of there, so let's say there's someone over on this high ground, you have to go all the way over here and up top to get them. It's a very far distance. On the other high ground, it's very similar, except now you have to go around the back to get them. And in that time, they've just dropped to the middle or something, and you have just left the point alone. If they're mid, you can't really push them because you have to leave your team, and then you get shot in the back. And so it can be really difficult for Reinhardt to be viable on this first point. And if you want to make him viable, the way to do it is not to, so like right here, you essentially have to drop to point to contest it, right? But you're standing out in the open here. And so if you have made the decisions that you already have that have led you to point, you've decided that's the right call, this is not where you stand. Because if I'm your enemies, I'm just going to be walking in circles around you, and I'm just going to be farming you from the top. Better places to stand, if you have committed to point, is kind of any of like the four corners, so that you at least own something. And there's more pros and cons to it than that. But so you at least own something, and you can at least have teammates kind of stand behind your shield and stuff like that. Right now, you're just kind of spinning in circles, so you're in like the worst spot. And if you really want to hold point, right here is a pretty decent spot. You can fall back when you need to. You have a nice corner. But unfortunately, it's just the perils of playing Ryan on a map that's not built for him. And Overwatch really does have maps that aren't built for certain heroes. And you see, like, thankfully your teammates are getting the kills, so you're just fine. But like, what did you actually do that fight? You didn't really do anything, and so your team essentially had a 5v6. Even now, like, do you see how long it takes you to get to this Lucio? because he's on the high ground and you weren't.
Ana's all the way in the back. Careful, watching for that bait, Lucy. Fucking through the Hammond. Tracer.
Place it up left.
Damn it.
No res 30.
I've got come.
Our mercy down, play safe.
So like really what's been happening here is the same lecture that we kind of just finished. You guys are just on point and getting shot from every single direction. And it feels bad. You can't shield it all.
Reaper?
You have no threat against them. Thankfully you had like a McCree and stuff who can shoot up there, but that's about it. Almost no one else on your team could really threaten them up top or threaten their dive at all. And so you guys had a really bad time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
No recall, Tracer?
Cool, so you guys are kind of pushing out before you have your team. And because of that, you guys kind of got punished a little bit. Now you don't have your McCree. There you go, nice. You do have your McCree now. But your McCree still did not need to die there.
Nice.
And what you just did on that ball was perfect, almost just perfect. You body blocked him, and then swinging with your hammer also messes up his momentum and makes him really hard to escape. A lot of people don't body block the ball, and it's so dumb. Like, if ball gets you in that little room and you're a tank, there's no reason that ball needs to leave that room. The majority of rooms, ball can't get enough speed to boop you. Okay, so I will always tell this to any player
Genji high left.
ever. Please do not let your shield fully break as Rein, because even 20 shield,
Playing this character.
30 shield, 50 shield is enough to block some crucial
20
things.
seconds on res.
It's enough to block a diva bomb, it's enough to block a shatter. Yes, you have to get somewhat lucky with stuff like that, but letting it fully break is always a mistake, pretty much, when you can just stop it but right before it does.
I've been playing this character way too long. Nice kill him again.
So do you see why you died here?
No res.
You're insane.
We can kind of watch it one more time.
I've been playing this character way too long. Nice kill him again.
Cool. So we pushed up before we were totally ready. We didn't have our shield and stuff. And we pushed up while our team was still focused on people in the back line. And so they were not ready to follow up with us at all. That could be fixed two ways. The first way is by you personally making sure, just with your eyes, that your team is ready to push up. If you would have just paid a tiny bit of attention, you would have seen that they were fighting in your back line, and it would have never been a question of if they're ready or not. But the easiest way to fix it and the proper way to fix it is to just talk. Just say, oh, I'm pushing up.
Nice. That Lucy, nice.
Fucking hell, dude. Fucking dick so hard.
So why are we shield hopping away right now? Like, what's really gonna hurt us? We're just wasting our shield and not letting it be at 2,000 is all we're really doing. Like, we've flashed it so many times, we're never gonna get back to 2,000. And that's gonna really punish you when you're in Rein v Rein situations. Because that, just now we got back to 2,000, like 30 seconds later.
Hammond above.
Hammond's above, behind.
Yep, he's coming in for a drop.
I got nothing for this.
There's a tracer behind.
Damn it.
team got put in a super awkward situation because there was a Genji blade in front of them and mines behind them. To help fix that issue for them, right when the hamster dropped his mines, you could have just fire struck them or something, thrown your fire strike at them, because you would have had a good number of kills on them, and that may have opened up the space that your team needed to back up against that blade. Can I promise you it would have ended any different? No. But by breaking some of the mines, would you have helped? Yeah. One of the number one things, this is general Overwatch, that I will always mention to every single player below Master, is that you have to hit tab more. You haven't hit tabbed at all. So you have no clue. There you go. You have no clue if they have switched that Genji to like a Widow, because that's going to massively change the way that you can play. You have no clue if like that Zarya has Grav, because you're not thinking about it. It just has to be slightly more, because like it's just so advantageous to you to help win that knowledge war. And it's just something that all good players do, because it only benefits you, does not hurt you, so why not do it?
Nice.
Your team massively over-ulted there, but your ult was first, and probably fairly necessary if you guys wanted to live through the Grav. So I can't really blame that one on you, but I can tell you that you can fix that through communication still.
Alright, make sure we don't go too far apart. We have trans for blade. Huge. Oh, that's bad. Got him. No heals.
Like, why are you holding your shield right there? Like, you know you got all the kills, and like now why are you holding your shield? That's a terrible habit, and if you don't break that, you'll really struggle as you start to climb in like GOATS comps, or any comp really that where you're going against Orion, because he'll have more shield than you.
That's it, that's good. That's round.
Hamster low behind. Nice.
Nice.
Then
Yeah, you're terrible.
So I have a Zan.
Nice. I am happy that you were hitting tab right at 15 seconds to see what they were running. It's gotta happen.
Bastion discarded.
I think they saw me, but I'm going for it.
I don't know why you kept pushing up. I have no clue why you didn't stop and stabilize. So, shield is 3/4, shield is half, and then we start pushing in with half shield and half health. Even if you got to that room, what did you gain from that room?
Mercy?
I just don't understand that even. So if you guys need to take care of the Bastion, why do you guys not rotate under and go up the stairs? You're in voice comms, you're talking quite a bit, so why don't you just tell everyone? And you go straight up the stairs. Nope, we're going to point. Why are we going to point? We've burned our entire shield now, and now we're out with our shield.
No res 30.
Alright, I think we need more heals than that.
You killed yourself there. You guys didn't necessarily need more heals, didn't necessarily need to do anything, except so simple. Your team is just relaxing, going under, go through there. Oh, not thinking. So going under, go up there, come around. Bad Bastion will still be sitting right here, so you guys kill him. Good Bastion will have rotated over here, and you guys still kill him. So you guys just have a good time, and you guys push him, dead or dead, and then circle back around to point. And you don't have to be just taking that way. You can go around this way, go up and over, and go that way. It's really the exact same thing. But worst case scenario for you is that they rotate over here. Best case scenario is that they stay right here. And middle scenario is that they go to point. But any of those ways, you should be able to kill the Bastion. Instead, what you guys did is you guys just stand here and let yourself get farmed by a Bastion shooting down. Bastion does more damage than you guys. Of course you're going to get farmed. It's no question. It's not on your guys' skill even. It's not on anything like that. But it is on you as the main tank to lead your team where they're going. And you guys took them right there to a death trap and kept them in the death trap instead of walking past where you needed to go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna die. I'm gonna go Moira.
We can go dive.
Yeah, dive would work. I can run Genji.
So like, why are you not talking to your team here? They want to know if they can go dive. You're the most important part of that.
So where's the Bastion at now?
He's top right.
It's cool if you can't play dive. I suggest you learn for climbing, but you need to tell your team that if you can't. Because now they have a full dive comp with a Ryan. And again, it's going to be same thing just like point one. What are you going to do?
There's a Zarya top right on me.
Like, what are you doing? You're not accomplishing anything, and it's not surprising. It's not even necessarily your fault. Well, it is. But you're playing an unopportune hero in an unopportune spot here.
Bastion's in the room. He's going top right. Top left, I mean. Watch out left side, left side, left side.
Good job farming the supercharger. That was 100% the right move. Like, do you see? This is exactly the same rant that we talked about at first. Do you see how long it takes you to get to high ground? By the time you get to high ground, you've already gotten farmed. I hope when I explained how to play Ryan on this map, I hope that made sense. Because it's super important, if you're a Ryan one trick, to know what to do.
I can try going on if you guys.
Whatever
Just to
works,
put
whatever you
pressure
think
on
will
them.
work.
Just remember to try and duck out of the shields if it gets bad for you.
They don't have trans anymore.
Yep. Ready, set, go.
Everyone on your team has died. Doesn't really matter what happens to the Bastion.
Nice, nice. I'm coming, I'm coming. Keep Monkey alive. Monkey, how much is old?
Unlucky, and definitely doesn't feel so good. But was it too surprising to you? If you take a really hard look at this map, and we go and highlight everywhere that you were truly getting value on your Rhine, I think that just the math starts to make sense. So you got value here. That was nice. And then you got value here when you guys held for a second. That was about it. On attack and defense, you got no value on the first point, so all of this is in red. we got no value while defending over here because we didn't even get a fight because we chose to stagger over here. We really got no value at all here when we were just feeding our shield. And then we got Mind and Bladed right here, so we got no value here either. And so if you just think about that, not even from a skill level, not even from a which team is better level, not even from a what mistakes did I make, but just think about, was I getting value for my team? How could you guys win? I mean, it's like 80 to 20. You're only getting about 20% value. And so you got to really look at the hero you're playing. And if you want to play a hero that is not perfect for that situation, you have to play them the right way. So going through Numbani A, that's like what I was referencing, where you push up top to take the high ground. That would be a great way to get value out of Ryan there. If you want to stay on Ryan, make sure you can hold this first corner for second point. That's a great value there because it can be really hard to push through when you guys can duck into this room if there's substantial danger or anything like that. And so that can be a great place to play Ryan. If you want to keep going, it can be perfectly fine to play Ryan right here as long as you and your team are playing it properly, not so split out. So got a couple people over here, a couple back there, and then you pushing forward so you're dying. That's getting you no value out of Ryan. It can be absolutely fantastic to play Ryan anywhere within here. Ryan is a great hero for this area. But because we weren't playing him properly, we weren't getting value out of him. And so you can roughly break this into 3 points. Point A. Point B will just start here because you don't generally get a hold before then anyway. And then point C. So you got A, B, C. And instead of really like thinking about what you were doing and making sure that you were playing properly, for example, on A, what we did was held up top here. Enemy team contested point. We moved to point. We got farmed in the middle of point. We never left middle point again. Better way to get value would have been to go back here, not get farmed in the middle of point, to keep holding this high ground, to have someone else on our team contest the point if we wanted this high ground for some reason, something with our comp. Like they did, you can bunker comp. You could play Winston, so you can actually jump in between these high grounds and eliminate a lot of the issues that held you back on Ryan. Whatever, any of those would have gotten you more value, but unfortunately we didn't do any of those because of our positioning and just general awareness, and so we didn't get very much value. On B, it's really about taking the right spots to make sure you get value out of your Ryan, and it's unfortunate because when you guys staggered here and then tried to hold like this spot, like this is a very difficult spot to hold on Ryan because they have a lot of sustain, a lot of corners, and they can like pop a widow up here. Your team, your supports that'll be holding here, they don't really have very many places to fall back when they get flanked or dived. And so this is a very difficult spot, but that's where you guys took like your first real fight. And so instead what you need to do is communicate with your team, make sure that you guys don't get staggered, and you can take 2 really good fights on Ryan. You can take one right here, right on this first corner, and then on this second corner. And those are 2 great spots to hold as Ryan. It's a little bit harder to flank your team because you guys will generally see anyone that goes through this door, or even around here, because your team doesn't need to play all solo back here. They can actually position themselves kind of over here, ready to follow up with you, close to you. You can help stop any dive on them, and you guys can have a really good time. And this is almost the exact same thing, where yes, you can get flanked. People can go through down here. People can go out this way, over here. But because your team is generally going to be playing like over here, they're pretty protected. and they're very kind of in unison and playing with you. So again, you're getting value out of your rhyme. So that's what like a more valuable B would have looked like. And then finally, point C, you guys did it pretty right. There's a couple really good corners to hold with your Rhine. Kind of same things we've been going over, that corner, and then even like the end of point, like hugging like this left side is super powerful. And so you guys had a good time here, and it was because you were finally on the opportune comp and finally playing it at least much more right. And so that's why you guys were able to hold C so easy. But I hope you kind of see some of the differences that you could have and should have made for A and B that would have allowed you and your team to have a much better time. Because if you start focusing on making sure you're in the right spot and enabling your team properly, you'll be amazed what they can do, and you'll start climbing back to diamond easily.